Hey, good morning. Welcome to Michael Freedberg Day, or European Items Day in the Lather Games. Doing different soaps every day as much as one can. And if you're participating, then awesome. If you can't participate all the days, then just do what you can and log it on the wet shaving Lather Games set of the day entries. So today is European stuff because, man, Freedberg just loves that stuff, rates and reviews them a lot. I highly recommend his videos. He's not as much of a bowl latherer as I am, and so especially if you like to face lather, you'll find his videos very helpful and informative. He reviews a bunch of different products, and he's good stuff. I consider him a good lather builder in terms of face lathering. If you don't know, face lathering is when you, he has like a loading bowl, and he'll put a sample, sometimes several days worth of a sample, in the loading bowl. And then you get your brush a little wet, you start working that for a little while till you build up some kind of early lather. It's not the finished lather by any means, but it's kind of an early, and so in that sense, you don't have to have a big bowl like I use. And so then you take it to your face and you start working it, and then you add a little bit of water to your brush and keep doing like that. Water, brush, face, water, that sort of thing, until that first layer has the consistency that you want. And he's got a nice high-res enough camera where you can see a lot of the aspects about the soap on his face, and so that's a great way to help yourself get to a good lather on your face. The strength of face lathering is that your feel there, your skin perfectly can give you an idea about when you hit the right consistently, when it's creamy, when you can keep adding water until it stops being creamy, and then you can maybe back off a little bit next time, you know, that sort of thing. You get used to that feel. Disadvantage might be that the third pass is not as nice as the first pass, that sort of thing, and you waste some soap because it just gets washed off after the first pass. So, but it's got its advantages. Sometimes it's faster. It's another advantage of face lathering. So European stuff today. I think I've managed to make everything that I'm using European, except maybe the blade, but it's probably made in on that continent at least. Omega, it's an Italian maker of brushes, and this one's rough. This one's still a little bit rough. I have had a couple of smooth shaves with it, and so these bristles are just taking a while, and that's okay. This is just its 16th shave, I think, and so it's got a long way to go. That's kind of to be expected. It's coming out a little bit. I have had it soaking for quite a while, several hours in fact, since it's being so stubborn. I actually meant to shave last night. The European razor I'm using is a French one, the Gibbs. If you're a frequenter of my channel, I did do several shaves with the Gibbs a few weeks ago, and so this is the same razor. It's on loan from a very kind viewer, and I'm very grateful to be using it. After this use, since I'm using only one razor per day in this month, I will be sending it back and taking good care of it while it's here. It's just a spectacular example here of a vintage razor that's been well taken care of. There's that Gibbs logo, and we'll look more about that later. Inside of it, I'll be using this 7 o'clock yellow, and the Gibbs is a proprietary razor blade that has notches on the ends. And however, it's not too hard to hack these guys by chopping off with just a pair of sharp scissors the two ends, taking about half the material off right there. It does take a little bit of fiddling sometimes to fit it into the razor, but it's a great shave. The soap, I have had this soaking for just several minutes, nothing major. This is Saponificio Varesino, and it's their Tundra Artica. I really, really like this soap. Maybe my favorite in their whole brand, in their whole lineup. And the European post-shave product is from Lidl, a skin booster. Works pretty well. It's got just a kind of a generic scent, but we're sticking with European. It's got this kind of pump thing. It's available at the at Lidl, the All-Man brand, and it's pretty good. Some hydrating elements, I mean some nourishing. It's got a lot of ingredients, so it is not something super natural and basic. So that's German. All right, so we have Italian brush and soap, French razor, German post-shave. Let's enjoy it. Throw a little water on my face, and I'm going to put that blade in the razor. I'll go ahead and show you guys when I do that. Okay, as usual, I'm just showing you what I do. I'm not recommending anything. Don't sue me if you cut yourself on a blade, all right? So, twist knob at the bottom, comes out, and you can see these tab spots at the end here. And if you have the proprietary Gibbs blades, this just comes right out of the razor. If you have those proprietary blades, then it's awesome. Just keeps it nice and lined up because of these tabs here on the end. Also like how the support for the bottom of the blade is a little wider here than a lot of other razors. I think that helps it to be smooth. All right, so we're going to take our blade and just lay it across. Now, because there's not really anything holding it back, it can move. So be very careful. Take your time. Don't touch any sharp edges. I shouldn't have put my top cap so far away. All right, then drop that post down between the blade and then into the shaft. And there we go. Now that's almost aligned, but as you can see, it's a little bit crooked. As with many razors, not just ones you have to modify like this, but I tighten it just until the knob starts to touch, and then you can start checking your alignment. Now I'm using my fingernails. I need to loosen that up a little bit. I'm using my fingernails. You use whatever is safe for you to use. If you're not competent pushing a blade around, then maybe you just shouldn't use this razor. A popsicle stick might also be. I can't see well enough. There we go. I was doing a really good job of just pushing it too much so many times. A popsicle stick might be a good thing to push the blade around with. That looks pretty even. And then just tighten it down. And today, I feel like since this is my last shave with this awesome razor, let's go for nice and smooth. I'm going to set it with that red dot here on the dial right under the number 2. Right. And now I am going to take my lather bowl, Roger Quintero design. Thingiverse.com has the plans if you can print it on a 3D printer yourself. That link is in the description. I poured the bloom water into this so that that nice soapiness is still maintained in the water, so we're not going to lose any of that. And I'm going to take my brush and shake out most of the water. These have nice long bristles in this brush, and so there's going to be some water in there anyway. And so here's the soap after, man, the lighting in here is weird because of the, I don't really have a camera mount, so I have to kind of put it in the windowsill. All right, so as usual, I'm gonna do my 30-second load. Oh, 0, 0 rolled around right there. I'll probably have to say I started at a 1, so I'll stop at 31. One bad thing about this brush, since the bristles are so long, sometimes you don't get to agitate the soap as well as a shorter bristled brush, because the bristles can just kind of stick in one spot and rotate around to that one spot. So sometimes this brush needs a longer load. Let's go ahead and do this at 36, and so we'll do a 35-second load to kind of counteract the long bristled nature. I've tried to kind of maybe hold it with my fingers. I might try that some more, but it didn't really work the first time I tried it. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this out. And I don't actually rinse out the insides because that's good soap right there. I just meant to do the outsides so that it's clean. All right, so we can take, how much water does that look like? Maybe 2½ teaspoons, something like that is in there. So let's just start working the lather up. So the reason I like this soap so much, it's agar. Agar wood is the main base that provides that woodiness, and that's a close relative of sandalwood. I'm a big sandalwood fan. So you've got that as a, oh, the scent is coming up to me. It's good stuff. It's a pretty hard soap. It's expensive. However, it's so hard that I believe that you'll be able to get more shaves out of your puck, out of that same $30 that you spent on the soap. If you were to compare it to even a high-end $20 soap, I'm going to guess you're going to get twice as many shaves out of it, maybe more. And so that makes it a much better value, actually. The manufacturer actually recommends pouring boiling water over the soap puck and letting it sit there for several minutes while you prep your gear and stuff. That's too inconvenient for me. I don't want to leave my bathroom and make some boiling water or anything like that. So the scent has the agar in it, and they made it a little bit more earthy, maybe a little bit more green with a addition of Icelandic lichen, I believe it is. It may not be Icelandic lichen, but I think it is. And anyway, it's lichen, and it's a nice earthy tone. The cranberry is also added, and they added it in just the right ratio. It still keeps the woodiness. It definitely doesn't turn it into any kind of fruitiness, but it rounds it out with just a little bit of flavor. Just a little bit of another note other than something woody or herby or anything like that. So I like this formulation a lot. So it started off really bubbly because I had the water in with the soap, and so it took a while to work that water up into the brush, combine it with the soap, and now we've got a nice looking lather here. Oh, it smells so good. It's very cloud-like. It's kind of a high structure lather. Let's see if we can, sometimes with high structure lathers, you need to keep mixing a little bit, and that'll switch them and turn them creamy, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it's been so long since I've used this soap. It's one of my favorites, but because I keep getting good deals on used soap and I want to try them out, I just don't revisit the ones that are my favorites nearly often enough. One day, right? One day I will settle down, but I figure I've got so many years worth of shaving left. I've got lots of time. See how this lather behaves when we pull it up. Okay, look at the surface. See all those ridges and craters and jaggedy things? That's a pretty high structure type thing, pretty dry-ish. So let's keep adding a little bit of water. I believe that the water here is fairly soft, so that's extra good for lather making. I have hard water at home, and the good thing is, I mean, unless you have just extreme hard water, all you need to do is just add a little bit extra soap and you're fine. But some soaps are hard water tolerant anyway, and so you don't have to do anything extra. I don't know exactly what they add to them to do that, but Barrister & Man does a really good job. Soap Commander, another one that's very hard water tolerant. A lot of them are, really. To be honest, the number that I've had that had problems with hard water is much, much smaller than the rest of them. That might be the easier list to keep track of. Man, this lather looks great. I've got tons of it. I didn't need to do all that much loading, as it turns out. Well, there's one good reason to have this extra large lather bowl. I've got big hands anyway, and so just kind of the natural radius of the flow of my the mixing action that I do is larger than, you know, average, and so it makes a sense that a larger bowl would work well for that. But I also like the fact that there's plenty of room in the bowl for the lather to go once it's ready. Now this is going to be a very different lather. Since I showed it to you last, I've added 2 teaspoons of water. We've got some stretch there, and we've got about twice as much lather. It's not really collapsing under its own weight, but this may be one where I need to stop a little early. Oh yeah, good slickness. I think I will go ahead and stop. I can always add more water later. Very nice, feels good. Since I've got so much soap, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this, kind of use it as a pre-shave, use it to kind of disrupt the oils and stuff that are on my face right now. There we go. All right, so a little rinse and get ready. I've got some long bristles on today. This will no doubt be zero problem for this particular razor. About a day and a half. It should still cut through really nicely. So we've got a long soak on this brush. Oh yeah, the tips are feeling better. I do look forward to when these tips have really split on this brush. I think it'll be a really good addition. Some of the ones that were more comfortable quicker than this one, some of my Samogs, especially like I think the 1800 and the 1250 are almost too much splay, too little backbone. I think this lather needs a little bit of soap. I'm sorry, water. So I'm going to make a well in the brush by doing my cheeks like that. I've turned my head over so that the brush can be pointed down, so the water just doesn't immediately flow out the bottom of the handle, bottom of the knot. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, this did still need some more water. How about that? I probably could have gotten away with just a 20-second load or something like that. Yep. Now, I had something on my face. You know, you saw it just a few minutes ago and it looked like a decent lather. Why would I go and add some more water to it and make it more, you know, it's just, it keeps growing here. I could have shaved with that other stuff, sure. But when your lather is not hydrated as well as it could be, there's a couple of issues that you may have to face. If it's too dry, it may not bond with your skin well enough to protect it as the razor glides over. Another thing, it's not going to be as slick as it could be. And so that is why I'm adding water until I can just feel it and see that it's a nice, slick. Yeah, that's a lot better. And I can, so I look at the shape of the lather as it's in my bowl as I'm adding water, and that can give you some visual clues. But in the same way, I also look at the shape of the chunks of lather on my face. If they're all sharpy and hard and dry, then I know that, you know, maybe let's keep adding some water. So wow, I've added about 1.5 teaspoons of water to my face. You know, since I haven't used this soap in such a long time, I just forgot how thirsty it was. There we go. See, it's making soap, and you can keep seeing the soap gather around the bottom of the lather. Oh man, that smells good. It's not super strong. It's not going to offend anybody. But it's there. 4 or 5, I would say, out of scent strength. And man, yeah, I do need to add some more water to this lather. I'm going to put the rest of that syringe in there. And then I'm going to add a whole nother teaspoon to the bowl. I'll mix that up in a second after I shave. All right, let's get this little guy here. Remove the stuff from the unshaven area, or the unshavable area. And here we go, setting of 2. And we're going to go after, oh man, how comfortable is that? That is just so smooth. What a great little razor. Now, if you want to try to get one of these now, it'll cost you. It's not an inexpensive razor. I guess they're kind of rare. And so, and it's nice you can modify the blades pretty easily. If I had one of these razors, I would probably buy some kind of hole punch to make it easy to punch a little notch without having to cut the whole side off. And I'm guessing if the end was there, if the ends of the blades were there, you might be able to align it easier and more safely. Well, there we go, first pass. Man, that was smooth. Face feels great. What an awesome little razor. He is very head heavy because this blackness here is plastic. Everything else is metal, and so the balance point is maybe even. It's pretty close to right here. But to be honest, once you're shaving, that part is contacting your face, and so it doesn't really present an issue at all for me. I'm gonna rinse. All right, so I've added more into the water, just what I said I did earlier, and boy, I think I put 2 syringes in, and then I think I put 1 in, and then during the shave, I dripped a whole nother syringe onto the brush, and then I think I put another teaspoon in. So that's 5 teaspoons of water in this soap, and I could probably keep going, but let's take a look at the viscosity now. Okay, here's the whole soap ball. I don't even know if I can fit it all on the brush. I mean, look, and there's tons left in there. Okay, let's look at the drop. Oh, now I've got a little jumper. It doesn't matter, I've got so much soap. More elastic, doesn't really hold its shape as well when it hits. And let's look at the stretch. Somewhat elastic. It's not elastic as some, but I think we're in good shape. Let's use this one. It's just got a great, I hope that's coming around and it looks better in the video than it does on my screen. Sorry, there's just not nearly as much light. Man, that's a good lather. So I like to shove my brush down into it to kind of push the lather in between the bristles. Pretty good feel. I still feel a little bit of the pokiness of the bristles being scrubby and all that. Looking forward to the time when it changes. Alright, just lay down a thin layer here. And this one doesn't really spread the layers because you can see how narrow it is, it doesn't really spread a flat layer across, and so I have to kind of have it bunchy like this, just the way the brush is. Maybe with more use that'll change. And I do have an O-ring around the bottom of this guy, and so who knows, if he doesn't splay out as much as I think he will, maybe I'll cut that O-ring out and let him open up some more. All right, keep with that smooth setting number 2, this time in cross grain. I can feel the blade just a little bit, but it's just super smooth. You can hear it a little bit too. Getting good whiffs of that soap. Very slick, nice glide. To be honest, this lather, I don't know. Now let's feel of it. I was gonna say this could use a little bit more water, or it could take a little bit more, but nah, I wouldn't want to. It's less creamy that way. I think this is either perfect or a little bit too wet, but it's nice and slick as it is now, so I wouldn't want to add more water than that. So the visual clues I just gave you, showing you how it was acting and stuff, for me and how I like it, that's just right. So maybe I can memorize that for next time. All right, let's lay on some more, a little bit of rinse. Some people do half rinses, where it's just kind of a light rinse. Some people want to rinse everything away. I don't really see a point in that. It's kind of time wasted. Some people don't even rinse at all. Some people respond with, "Oh, really? I've never heard of anybody rinsing before between passes." So I like this soap so much, I may have wanted to choose a more comfortable brush, but I wanted to stick with the theme of European, and I was in a bit of a rush to grab my gear and go, because packing for a trip and all that. This has wonderful slickness during the rinse. Throw that water on there and I can really feel my face and the slickness there. Really good performing soap. All right. I twist my mouth over this way to tighten up my skin a little bit. It's a good combo between this blade and this razor. For me at least. And so most of the hair, especially on my cheek area, has already been taken care of in the first couple of passes. This soap does dry out on your face kind of quickly, and so you do want to avoid going back and shaving over areas if you haven't shaved over them in the last 8 seconds or something like that. Not really a problem for me. And here's the thing, it'll feel dry, but then when you splash water on it, it just gets all nice and slick and creamy. It reactivates that. All right, feels good. Face feels excellent. My nose feels good from that scent. So I'll do a final rinse. If you do rinse, then make sure that if you have a goatee, get that water out. Whether I just kind of wipe it sometimes with my hand, or if you want to dab your goatee on a towel. That way, if you have a soap that's really in the zone in terms of hydration, you don't want to add all these droplets to it when you lather up. And so, however, if you're really dry or something, then that could be an advantage. Anyway, so get that water out of there if everything's looking good. So here's that skin booster. kind of the consistency of a balm. A little bit of water on your face helps to let it work into your skin and smooth out really easy. Nice, pleasant scent to it. Kind of a general purpose, fresh, tiny bit of sweetness, maybe a little bit of floral, but it would be hard to discern. It's actually kind of difficult to try to figure out. Probably a little bit of citrus in there. Just a bunch of things just to make it pleasant, you know. So it's kind of a, I think it would work well with a lot of different types of scents and stuff. And I've used this balm before, and it seems to work really well. I have oily skin anyway, and so it doesn't have to be a top-notch balm for it to help me out. But anyway, so I've got another 4 lathers, 4 passes, maybe even 5 in here. I just, look at that. That's perfect. That is perfect. Kind of collapsing down on top of his brothers. So that's just a tremendous lather. I'll have to remember how, and actually I have used this soap so long ago that it was back before I was tracking my amounts and my ratios and things like that. So that's why I was kind of coming in tabula rasa, if you will. So there we go. A really nice shave. I do still smell that balm around on me. And you know what I did? I took all that extra lather, just kind of washed my hands with it. So why not? I love the scent so much. Then I can just kind of maybe keep smelling it just a little bit for a little while longer as I do my programming and things like that. So man, I'm happy with this shave. Just want to take a second again to mention Michael Freedberg, and I highly recommend his videos. He has a series, I believe it's a 4-part wet shaving tutorial that I have recommended so many times to new shavers online. It's a tremendous, he covers a bunch of aspects of using different pieces of equipment. He evaluates inexpensive stuff like the Yaki type brushes and inexpensive soap, as well as nice stuff. He shares with people around him. I remember he evaluated something and he had to do it before he shared it so much he didn't have any left. I think that was Abati La Mantilla soap that he had, but I get a lot out of his videos, and I highly recommend them if you do that, especially if you are a face latherer instead of a bowl latherer like me. All right, now Michael, thank you so much for what you do for the shaving community and all the help that your videos are. All right, thank you very much everybody for watching. You have a good day. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care. Good day.